I'm reading original killer concepts from my YouTube comments. Today's original killer concept comes from Kata Shu, and their concept is the Kakashi.
Okay, let's go.
So some of you may be wondering where Kakashi came from. Kakashi means scarecrow in Japanese, and to fit the lore, we ended up changing it to the Kakashi. Kata Shu ended up originally saying the scarecrow, but it'll all be the same thing. So the Kakashi would be tall, have a terror radius of 32 meters, and move at about 4.6 meters per second. This would make the Kakashi equivalent to Bubba, Billy, and the Doctor. Alright, now let's get into the lore. Once a humble farmer in the village of Hinamazawa, Hideki Moriyama became the Kakashi after performing a forbidden ritual to save his drought-stricken crops. The ritual fused his essence with Scarecrow's, transforming him into a monstrous guardian driven by the primal urge to protect and harvest souls. Stripped of his humanity, Hideki now wanders a cursed realm, forever bound to reap any who cross his path. In the entity's domain, the Kakashi is a grotesque fusion of a man in straw with hollow eyes and silent, deadly movements. He prowls fog-shrouded fields and abandoned farms, wielding a sickle with terrifying precision. Survivors speak in hushed tones of the rustling straw that heralds his approach. Relentless and cunning, the Kakashi sets traps and ambushes, harvesting souls to appease the malevolent force that now controls his fate. Alright, so now let's get into the power. So Kata Shu had a very detailed power. I actually shortened it and condensed it a little bit just to make it easier to understand here. So the power is called the Harbinger. The first part of the power is called Gathering Murmurs, which is a passive ability. Crows are scattered throughout the trial grounds. When a survivor approaches a crow and startles it, the Kakashi earns a Crow Murmur. The crows startled by survivors during chase will also grant the Kakashi a Crow Murmur. The first active ability, Crow's Eyes. By expending 3 Crow Murmurs, the Scarecrow activates Crow's Eyes. Up to 6 Watcher's perches are scattered throughout the map, with 2 guaranteed locations near Killer Shack and main building if the map has one. Selecting a Watcher perch channels the entity, projecting the Scarecrow's visions into nearby vicious crows perched upon it. While in the crow's eye, the Kakashi can see a limited area around the perch through the vicious crow's eyes. Survivors spotted through crow's eyes become marked for 20 seconds. So the second part of this power is called Ready for Harvest. Mark survivors. Mark survivors suffer from the Omen status effect. Omen causes them to perceive the terror radius and heartbeat a few seconds later than usual. Also, they start to see the vicious crows on the perch moving in a disorderly manner. Foul Fury. By expending 3 Crow Murmurs, the Scarecrows unleash a vicious crow from the chosen perch. The vicious crow crawls to hunt the marked survivors, prioritizing a direct path. The crow moves slightly faster than a sprinting survivor and can crawl under pallets and over windows, but at a significantly reduced speed. If the crow catches the marked survivor, it delivers a swift attack, injuring them for 1 health state. The vicious crow can be evaded by breaking line of sight or entering lockers. The perch used becomes vacant, allowing him to activate Crow's Eye again when Foul Fury ends. If a vicious crow hunt is unsuccessful, they begin to scatter. When scattering, they move randomly in the direction of the last detected survivor with reduced movement speed and start dissolving. If they find a survivor during scattering, they begin to chase again, still dissolving for the time being. The total time for a crow to dissolve is 20 seconds. If the crow dissolves completely, Foul Fury ends and has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Alright, so now let's talk about the perks. The first teachable perk is called Cadaver Spore. When a survivor performs a rushed action such as vaulting a window, dropping a pallet, sabotaging a hook, or etc., within your terror radius, a nearby crow takes flight and circles above for a short duration for the total of 7, 14, or 21 seconds. While circling, the crow reveals the survivor's aura to you. This perk has a cooldown of 40, 30, or 20 seconds. The next perk is called Scourge Hook Blighted Harvest. At the start of a trial, 4 random hooks are turned into Scourge Hooks, which are highlighted in white. Whenever a survivor is sacrificed on a Scourge Hook, all survivors have their movements and action speed reduced by 40, 50, or 60% for 5, 10, or 15 seconds. Any survivor who becomes injured during this time is no longer affected by Blighted Harvest. The final perk is called Fear of the Flock. You become obsessed with one survivor. Whenever a crow is disturbed by a survivor, gain a token. If the obsession disturbed a crow, gain 2 tokens instead. At 20 tokens, survivors' healing speeds are reduced by 10, 20, or 30%. At 40 tokens, survivors' repairing speed is reduced by 5, 10, or 15%. At 60 tokens, your vaulting and breaking speed is increased by 10, 20, and 30%. Whenever the obsession is killed or sacrificed, this perk deactivates. And that was the final perk. Katashu did have some additional information. They wanted to have a memento mori where the crows actually smother the survivors. They also mentioned having an alternate version of Coldwind Farm, because obviously a Scarecrow and Straw fits that map perfectly. But I do think this was a fantastic killer concept. I do want to talk about a couple notes that I took while I was making this video. Firstly, with the crow's eyes. The crow's eyes kind of feel like the Singularity's bipods that he shoots out, where he can have the vision to see anywhere he wants to. He obviously has to be motionless while he's doing that, but it feels a lot like that, except crows on a perch for the Kakashi. The other part of the power that I had a note on was Foul Fury. This is when the expended 3 crow murmurs have that vicious crow come out and start to attack the marked survivors. That feels like a combination of what would be the artist and the knight together. So the knight has his spirits that he can send, but obviously we're talking about crows here, so it kind of feels like it could be the artist's crows crawling on the ground trying to get the survivors. I will say it could be interesting to see this actually happening, and I'm sure it would be terrifying. I just think it sounds like those two things combined. The only tweak I would have made would have been to add scarecrows instead of crows. Just like switch it out, put more scarecrows in, make the scarecrows really scary, make them all over the place. Instead of the crows, it could do the exact same thing, but make it scarecrow based. Either way would work fine though. I feel like this whole aesthetic works perfectly in DBD. Additionally, I thought the perks were pretty fair. I'm sure as a survivor main, I would complain about all of them anyway at some point, but that's just what happens in DBD. But Katashu, great job here. Great concept. I love the idea of scarecrows in Dead by Daylight. We should have had it already. If you guys have any suggestions about what Katashu could change here, drop them in the comments. If you guys have your own killer concepts, drop them in the comments. I do read every single one of these comments, and I try to make the videos as fast as I can. I got some more videos coming, so look out for those. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.